I mean, it basically started with filmmakers just trying to get their movies made.
A lot of the stories I was putting in my movies had elements of truth in them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people down there were still alive.
And where is it right now? Because you're going to go, when is it going to be released?
It opens, it premieres Tuesday in New York.
Martin Scorsese doesn't just direct actors, he breaks them. For over 5 decades, Hollywood's most obsessive filmmaker has built a secret blacklist of A-list performers who dare to challenge his vision, question his methods, or simply couldn't meet his impossible standards. What you're about to discover isn't in any behind-the-scenes documentary. These are the stories that agents whisper about, the warnings passed between actors in private, and the real reason why some of Hollywood's biggest names refuse to work with cinema's most celebrated director. This isn't about creative differences. This is about control, humiliation, and what happens when actors realize that working with Martin Scorsese means surrendering their dignity along with their performance. Mark Wahlberg recently admitted he was pissed about a couple of things during The Departed, but what he didn't reveal was just how ugly things got between him and Scorsese. The tension started with something as ridiculous as hair extensions. Wahlberg had grown his hair out for his next film, and when The Departed shoot ran longer than expected, Scorsese demanded he cut it, but Wahlberg refused. What followed was a power struggle that shocked the entire cast. Sources say Wahlberg didn't bring a great attitude to the set and butted heads with Scorsese about his hair, but the real issue went deeper. Wahlberg wanted to play Leonardo DiCaprio's role, not the supporting character. When Scorsese refused to even discuss it, Wahlberg made the director's life hell. Crew members described daily arguments, with Wahlberg openly challenging Scorsese's direction in front of the entire cast. The irony? Wahlberg earned an Oscar nomination, proving he was perfect for the role, but Scorsese never forgave the disrespect. Despite the film's massive success, Wahlberg has never been offered another Scorsese project. Industry insiders reveal that Scorsese actively badmouths Wahlberg in private, calling him unprofessional and impossible to work with. Before Leonardo DiCaprio brought Howard Hughes to life in The Aviator, Jim Carrey was attached to the role. But their collaboration ended before filming began, revealing everything about how Scorsese operates with actors who don't submit to his control. During pre-production workshops, Carrey brought his signature improvisational energy to the role, physically transforming to show Hughes' decline across decades. But instead of being impressed, Scorsese became increasingly uncomfortable. According to production designer Dante Ferretti, the room's temperature seemed to drop with each minute, the more than its 4 failing an hour. Screen, never either in comfortable wideback with Metastani and Matacris. The breaking point came when they discussed script adherence. Scorsese demands actors deliver dialogue exactly as written, while Carrey wanted freedom to discover moments organically.
There are 2 kinds of brilliance in acting, Scorsese reportedly told his producing partner afterward. Jim's is undeniable, but it's not compatible with my process.
The project stalled within weeks, with Scorsese claiming creative differences while privately telling associates that Carrey was impossible to direct. That's not collaboration, that's domination. And Carrey was smart enough to walk away. Julia Roberts was initially considered for The Age of Innocence, but her brief interaction with Scorsese's pre-production process exposed the dark side of his method directing approach. What happened during costume fittings became a cautionary tale whispered throughout Hollywood. Roberts quickly discovered that for Scorsese, authenticity meant suffering, and suffering meant control. The problem started when Scorsese insisted Roberts wear authentic Victorian corsetry that would restrict her breathing. He wanted her to literally not breathe properly to understand the character, as Roberts later revealed. But Roberts pushed back. She questioned the physical restrictions and Scorsese's insistence that discomfort would inform her performance. The final confrontation came during a meeting about the character's cultural background. When Roberts suggested a more intuitive approach, Scorsese exploded. In period pieces, I need actors who can disappear into another time, he told the New York Times afterward, not ones who make other times feel like our own. Roberts withdrew immediately, and the role went to Michelle Pfeiffer. But Roberts had learned about Scorsese's controlling behavior, warning other actresses about his methods for years. James Caan's near collaboration with Martin Scorsese became Hollywood legend for all the wrong reasons. Fresh off The Godfather, Caan seemed perfect for Scorsese's Italian-American character study. But their creative collision revealed the incompatibility between stars who think they're collaborators and a director who tolerates nothing less than total submission. During pre-production, Caan had his own ideas about character development, ideas that contradicted Scorsese's vision. There was something dangerous about Jimmy, Scorsese later recalled. He had this authenticity I wanted, but he also had ideas that completely contradicted my vision. The breaking point came during a rehearsal when Khan began rewriting dialogue on the spot. Witnesses described what followed as a volcanic tirade from the usually controlled director. Scorsese humiliated Khan in front of the entire crew, making it clear that improvisation was only acceptable when it served his specific vision. He wanted improvisation, but only his kind. Khan told The New Yorker years later, the project collapsed within weeks, with both men too proud to compromise. For decades, they maintained cold, professional distance, their brief collision representing one of cinema's great missed opportunity. Ryan O'Neal's audition for Raging Bull became the most uncomfortable casting session in Scorsese's career. Before De Niro was attached, O'Neal was briefly considered for Jake LaMotta. What happened revealed the gulf between Hollywood's leading men and Scorsese's vision of masculinity. It was perhaps the most uncomfortable hour I've spent in casting, Scorsese confided to editor Thelma Schoonmaker. He looked at the material like it was something alien. And the meeting deteriorated when O'Neal suggested softening LaMotta's domestic violence scenes to make the character more sympathetic. This was a fundamental misreading of everything Scorsese was trying to achieve. If you're worried about likability, you're in the wrong room, Scorsese allegedly responded before abruptly ending the meeting. There's a difference between movie stars and what I need, Scorsese told American Film afterward. I need actors willing to be despised. O'Neal, built on being loved by audiences, could never make that transformation. The most carefully hidden conflict in Scorsese's career happened during the Age of Innocence. Winona Ryder's struggle with the director's demanding methods nearly destroyed both the film and the actress. But the full story was buried to protect everyone involved. Cast as Mae Welland, Ryder found herself trapped between Scorsese's vision and her own instincts. What the public saw was a brilliant Oscar-nominated performance. What they didn't see were 6-hour filming delays, whispered arguments, and psychological breakdown behind the cameras. Winona had this luminescent quality, Scorsese acknowledged years later, but she fought me on Mae's internal calculation. The problem was, Ryder wanted to humanize Mae, but Scorsese saw this as undermining the character's power. Production designer Dante Ferretti witnessed daily battles. Martin would whisper to her for 20-30 minutes between takes. She would emerge red-eyed, only to hear cut again after the camera rolled. The most disturbing aspect was Scorsese's psychological manipulation. He wanted perfect synthesis of Victorian propriety masking ruthless emotional warfare. After hours of takes, Ryder finally delivered what Scorsese wanted, but at a personal cost that shocked everyone present. Despite critical acclaim, she was noticeably absent from promotional activities. Years later, when asked about future collaborations, Scorsese responded, "Winona is brilliant at certain qualities. Mae Welland required something else entirely." Despite her Hollywood prominence, Ryder was never considered for another Scorsese project. These aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of a system Scorsese has spent 50 years perfecting, where actors don't collaborate, they submit. Where artistic vision becomes psychological warfare. And look at the pattern. Wahlberg blacklisted for challenging authority. Carey dismissed for bringing his own creative process. Roberts rejected for questioning suffering as method. Khan humiliated for suggesting changes. O'Neal dismissed for wanting likable characters. Ryder psychologically manipulated until she nearly broke. This is how cinema's most respected director really operates. Not through inspiration, but through control and domination. He doesn't work with actors, he weaponizes them against themselves until they become vessels for his vision. The actors still in Scorsese's orbit understand this. They submit because the alternative is being cut off from one of Hollywood's most powerful figures. But the cost is always the same: the loss of creative independence, the surrender of artistic identity, and the knowledge that you're not a collaborator, you're a tool to be used and discarded when the performance is complete. Which actor do you think handled Scorsese the best? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe for more Hollywood secrets they don't want you to know.